We're excited that you tuned in for a time of refreshing with Miss Alia Bernard. It's a show. She's an author, motivator, inspirational speaker. I'm on fire to inspire the whole world. She's a girl. On fire, on fire, inspire, on fire. On fire, said she's on fire. On fire, to inspire. On fire, to inspire. Inspiration, motivation, encouragement, empowerment. You need inspiration, a little bit of motivation, encouragement as well. Thank you for tuning in to the show. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you to the sponsors of the show. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome to On Fire to Inspire. I'm your host, Aaliyah, the Purpose Midwife. I want to thank you so much for joining us this beautiful Tuesday evening. You could have been doing anything else and been anywhere else, but you chose to spend it with us. And for that, we're totally grateful. So I want to thank our sponsors, and then we're going to get into this, jump in with these great cast members and some of our prior cast members. I'm actually one of the prior cast members, y'all. But before we get into all of that, I want to thank our sponsor, Ricky D. Surratt. That is my big brother and pastor. He is he's the author of Leadership Inside Trajectory. If you are a leader of any type, you need this in your leadership arsenal. So you want to get your copy at iworkfaith.com. Also, if you need a trainer, you need someone to come speak, he is a John Maxwell certified speaker and trainer, so he can come and take care of your team. So you can find that at iworkfaith.com. Now, if you're on your health and wellness journey, like we are, go to on Facebook, in Facebook land, you're going to go to Come Dance with Mena, MENA. We do Zumba on Mondays and Thursdays at 6 p.m. And if you like line dance, we incorporate that in our sessions. In addition to, we have once a month all line dance. So check that out. Come Dance with Mena on Facebook. And then last but not least, one more, mombizboss.org. If you are a mom, multiple operational manager, and you are interested in connecting with like-minded people, you want to connect with mombizboss.org. Mombizboss.org has so many women with so many different kinds of businesses that you can network with, maybe collaborate with, and learn from. So check them out. Tell them you heard it right here on Fire to Inspire. Now, finally, if you do not have any of my books, we have the children's book, Teaching Foundational English and Spanish, a learning book just for me. We have the book On Fire to Inspire, full of inspiration and encouragement. The Holy Spirit will wake me up and give me in the midnight hour, right? That's how the show kind of got started. He started it with a book, and 7 months later, the show started, right? Walking in obedience. And that has been, y'all, we're coming up on our 9-year anniversary. Do it, Jesus. All right, now, and then finally, the last 2 that I released was the Affirmations Coloring Book and Journal. We use this for teen girls and women, and so many of us don't utilize self-care. And these are options to use for self-care. I tell people all the time, self-care is not an option, it's a necessity. You have to be good, not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, every part about you. And so God wants that for us. He wants us to be good in everything. He wishes that we prosper in everything that concerns us. Without further ado, I'm going to have the playwright, Tresa Smith, join us, as well as a couple other ladies. I think we may have more backstage, so I'm going to be bringing everybody on. So, Tresa, we're adding you now.
Okay.
And then we're bringing on Miss Rita. And as we bring you on, Monique, I'm bringing you on next, ma'am. Just so y'all will know how I'm bringing you on. Okay. Can y'all see me?
Yes.
Okay. Let's see. Great evening, everybody, as you're joining in. If you're on Facebook, if you're on however you're on, I want y'all to do me a favor and hit that share button so that y'all can hear about this great play. This is part two. It will be at the Porter Sanford Center coming up, and we are so excited about it. And you want to see how you can register and get your free tickets. So, Teresa, welcome back to On Fire to Inspire.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Aaliyah. Thank you so much.
So I
And
want each of you to introduce yourself to the On Fire to Inspire family.
okay, I am Tresa Diane Smith, a native of Macon, Georgia, which is in central Georgia. And I've been in Atlanta for over 40 years, and I've been writing for 40 years. Started playwriting just off the cuff. I asked my former pastor, Bishop Jimmy Lee Smith, if we could do something besides having the kids do Christmas and Easter recitations, if we could have a play. And he said, sure. He said, you can spearhead it. And I said, oh, no, I've never written a play before. And he said, well, I'm depending upon you to do it. And I went to the library and looked up playwriting, and only thing I knew to do was go in the Bible and pull out the Christmas story. And that's what I did. And it went over well. And we formed uh, a drama ministry at Beulah in Decatur, and it's called Mad for Christ, Music, Art, and Drama for Christ. Then in 1998, I was a member of Berean, and I asked the pastor about us having a Christmas production that year, and that's Pastor Jimmy Kerwin B. Lee, and he said sure. And that year we had our first Christmas play, and that one was called Mad for Christ. Also, I couldn't think of anything else, so we just went with Mad for Christ. And Rita was our caterer and our um, decorator.
Okay.
I don't think Rita was in that play. The
No, I
first
wasn't
one
in.
we
No, I wasn't in the first play.
right. I think she just wanted to feel her way, and say, what is this all about? Because she thought we were just going to have some little jump off things, just do nothing. But our, our play was very much received.
It
And
was.
then you came on. You were one of the three dancers, the first three dancers. Later on,
Oh,
we had the dance ministry.
I
You,
remember now.
you, Trevette, and
Thelma.
and Danita.
Danita, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then you brought somebody else in as a
Mm-hmm.
dancer, I think. I don't remember who
Mm-hmm.
it
I think
was.
so. Mm-hmm.
But we started having productions
Mm-hmm.
every year we would have two productions a year
Right.
at Friend. And then we moved and we had our first production at the Family Life Center. That's when I changed the theme because we had a play in 2000 because I would write about different social ills in the community. And in 2000, I was saying, Lord, what can I write about? I've written about teen pregnancy, domestic abuse in the Christian community, uh, homelessness, and I wrote about alcoholism in the Christian community. And in 2000, I said, Lord, what can I write about? And he said, organ donation. And I was just blown away. I didn't know anything I didn't know anyone who had received an organ, didn't know anyone who was on what they said was the waiting list, didn't know anything about that. But I did a lot of research and found out a lot. And we had a it was a great play that year. Rita, I don't know if you were there that year.
Was that the first year you did it in the Family Life Center?
No, that was the first year we did it on over at the old church in Lithonia, Stone Mountain. Shadow Rock, on Shadow Rock, because I didn't know. I was trying to aim at getting a person converted from selfishness, because we had Carol Hunter was our first person who played the homeless woman. And we had Ethel, Betty Anderson played Ethel.
Oh, I wasn't in that play. That's when she had the fur and she said that she was the bag of chips, right?
Right. Yeah.
So
and,
I think I was doing something else for you then. I was not in that play.
Okay. But in that one, the daughter needed a bone marrow transplant. But the mother was so engrossed in the daughter that she forgot about everything and everybody else. So I let the daughter die.
Right.
Then the mother changed her way of living. But in 2013, when we had the first play at the Family Life Center, I said, if I want to bring people into the fold, I couldn't let the daughter die. So I changed it. And I had the daughter experience an out-of-body situation, which I had in 2010 with my mother. And my mother told me to come back and do what she could not complete here on earth. So I'm saying, if I want people to understand the importance of being an organ donor, I had to do something different. So that's when I let the daughter have an out-of-body experience. And she came back and told the mother about the things that the grandmother she'd never met told her about the mother. Then the mother's name changed from Ethel to Ethel.
Got it. I remember.
And Ethel changed her way of living after she had a revelation from Christ. And this year, we are working on, it's a whole and entirely different script.
Okay.
And next year, I think I might bring Ethel back. So would you two be ready?
Monique, she's talking to you.
Aaliyah, she's talking to you.
Ooh, look, let me pray about that one. Ooh, Ethel was a character, y'all. She needed some deliverance. Yes.
And in this one, we have Linda, who's the mother. And Linda is worse than Ethel, I think.
Wow.
Because Linda doesn't need Christ in her life.
Oh.
And she admits it.
Oh.
Wow. So is Linda and Ethel something? Because they have some horrible attitudes. Now, one of the things I love is that the fact that you gave God your yes, and as a result of you giving God your yes, and your pastor your yes, then they just start coming and coming. But it wasn't until you said yes and walked in obedience to that start.
Yeah.
half an hour.
Yeah.
And you were covering things that people didn't want to talk about in the church.
Precisely.
Like when you talked about that domestic violence that time, I was like, well, you about to do this? You know.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I love that. Now, Monique,
Mhm.
tell us who is Monique?
Well, I was introduced to Miss Tressa maybe about a couple of months back. I had a moment where I started thinking the story about me and my mother didn't need to be discussed because I donated my kidney to my mother 12 years ago. And I said, well, maybe people don't want to hear about that anymore. And a friend of mine, Miss Carlisa, texted me maybe by about 30 minutes after I had that thought in my mind. And she said, listen, you got to call this lady because she wants to hear about your story. So I'm thinking at the time maybe she knew someone that wanted to, that needed an organ, or maybe someone wanted to understand the process. And as she and I started talking, she was like, listen, I want you to tell your story during my play. So I was like, okay, not a problem. So that was that sign from the creator letting me know that I needed to still keep speaking my story. And then from that point on, she was like, I like the energy, Monique. I want you to host this thing again. And I was like, no, I'm good. And then she came about it, and I couldn't say no after that. I was like, okay, Miss Trust,
See?
I got you. So ultimately, well, and it's ironic. I was telling Miss Tressa earlier today how everything is full circle. Today marks the day when and I'm here in Miami with my mother right now, where when my mom first woke up out of her sleep, she looked very clammy and she was exhausted, and I couldn't understand. I didn't know what was going on with her, and she just kept telling me she just felt tired and she was going to make a doctor's appointment. Well, fast forward, she found out she was in renal failure. She was only at 14% function. And that was one of those heartbreaking moments because I'm my mother's only child. And my mom me and her, we've been the solid rock for one another. So when we found out she needed an organ, I got myself tested. Fast forward, we found out I was a match. But the unique thing about everything was I still reside in Atlanta. So I had to come back and forth to Miami for testing. And needless to say, they told me I was a match. In the beginning, they said it was a 50-50 chance I probably wouldn't be a match, but I found out I was a match. But the catch was I had to lose 20 pounds in 30 days. Now, of course,
Wow.
that was a challenge in my mind because that was Thanksgiving and Christmas time where
Uh-uh.
I had to lose that weight. And I come from that family where every Thanksgiving I would go to Dublin, Georgia, and I'm known for my macaroni and cheese. So it was kind of hard making that macaroni and cheese that year, and I couldn't taste that myself. But I had to change my whole diet. I was able to lose that 30 pounds and the 21 pounds. I seeded by 1 pound in those 30 days. And March 3rd of 2011, I was able to donate the kidney to my mother, and we're 12 years in. She's still doing great. And I still continue to tell the story to impact people because there was a lot of challenges going on during that time, but I kept pressing through so I could get through. And I remember a friend girl of mine, because I do a lot of speaking engagement and life coaching sessions, and I was going through it very hard because I was on that last leg of getting prepared to give an organ to my mom. And it seemed like the finish line kept getting extended. And she was just like, Monique, when this is all said and done, this is going to be your testimony. And your people are going to be able to listen to you because you done been through some things. And because you've been through some things, people will be more apt to listen to what you have to say regarding your story. And that year, our story got published in the newspaper um, and in health bulletins that really encouraged organ donations. And they did see a rise in organ donations that particular year after the surgery between my mother and I here in Miami, Florida.
Mm.
Wow.
You have someone, Jamaican Beauty said she was so dedicated during that time. She was even exercising in the rain and everything. So
Wow.
yes, yes, she was. Yes,
Yes,
yes, yes. Hey, you
absolutely.
know, It's just me and my mama. I got to make sure she good. So,
Yeah, it was so much going on because the prior year I had just lost my grandmother because she helped my mother raise me. My mother was a teenage parent when she had me, and that was that moment I had with God. I was like, "Listen, you got my grandparent, you got my grandmother and grandfather. You can't have my mom right now. So I need you to guide me through this process because my mother is important to me." And when everybody would say no, I'm like, no, I'm giving her this kidney. I don't care how you're going to do this. This is going to happen. So I did everything that I could. Thankfully, the employer I worked for was very helpful. They put off the resources for me where I didn't have to worry about my employment. And as Miss Jamaica Beauty said, I worked out every day during lunchtime, and in the mornings I would wake up 4 o'clock every morning and hit the gym because I knew my mom's life depended on it. So, and she wasn't on any dialysis, and that was how crucial it was. When we found out that September of 2010, she was not on dialysis, and by the time it was time for me to give her the kidney, she was at zero function. So they wanted
Wow.
to make sure that
Wow.
she didn't need the dialysis to jumpstart the kidney, because once a person starts on dialysis and they do find the kidney, a lot of times when they do the transplant, the body needs help to jumpstart it, and they didn't want to do that. So time was of the essence to help save my mother. So I did everything I could to make sure, well, I got that weight off. And like I said, she's 12 years in, and sometimes my mom moved faster than me. So we both doing great.
oh,
Oh,
God,
very
what a testimony. Don't you ever allow the enemy to close your mouth with that testimony, because you are encouraging
right.
somebody, you
Right.
know, and letting somebody who has the mindset of, well, I've tried this diet, I've tried that diet. But it don't even matter what you try when somebody's life is on the line. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
It
Man,
changes.
it was some serious. When I say some serious praying going on, that was that moment between me and God. That's the best way I could say it, because my mom had did her part.
Mhm.
I did what I did because, number one, she raised me, but also two, she took care of my grandparents. And I just felt like she sacrificed so much of herself to take care of her parents, and then they're both deceased, and now her life is on the balance. And I'm like, no, she needs to enjoy life. She needs to live this life. So if I could give her that life back, then fine, I'll do everything possible. Now, there's one thing my mom says all the time when people ask her the story. She said, I carried her for 9 months, and now I carry her for a lifetime. So
I
she,
Wow.
love it.
so
I
she
love
always
it.
says that.
Very good.
Yes, that's beautiful. Rita, introduce yourself to everybody.
I am Rita. Teresa's um, everything person. Do this, do that, do this, do that, and I do it. Teresa, you said two plays a year. It seems like we were putting on plays all the time,
Yeah.
especially during Black History when we did something every Sunday in that month. And
Yes. Yeah.
so you were busy all the time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I met Teresa in 1998 when I joined Berean, and we started working on the land campaign, the raise
Mm.
money for the land for the new church. And we've been friends. We went beyond working together and became friends. So we've been friends for 25 years.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful. That is so
Yeah.
beautiful.
So I've worked, I can't say no to her. Um, I haven't learned how to I haven't learned how to say no to her yet. So whenever she asks me to do something, I always say I'm not sure, and I always end up saying okay. So I guess that's my way of getting around to saying yes, I'll do it. But it's been Teresa's been a one of a kind friend, I have to say, and Aaliyah, you must know that too,
Yes.
because she is so energetic, and she's so focused on what she's doing, and
Thank you.
she knows exactly what she wants. And so when she asks you to do it, she tells you exactly what she needs, and that's what she pulls out of you. And so she's been such a powerful friend in my life. She's been, since I've been in Berean and have moved on to another church, but we're still friends. And so she has seen my grandchildren grow up. I have seen her grandson grow up. And it's been an amazing journey with her. And here she is. I spoke to her daughter after 2 plays ago, and I said, Takia, she can't do this again. This is too much. And Takia said, I'm going to talk to her, Rita. This is too much. And here she is, 2 more plays later, still doing plays and updating them to keep up with the times. And
Yeah.
people are just enjoying them.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you know, the thing I love what you just said, Rita, she's updating them every time to stay current.
Yes.
Because a lot of times people want to keep putting stuff on, but it's no longer, it's obsolete. But she's staying current, and you know, it's like reality is right there shifting you in the face, you know.
Exactly.
Everything is realistic. You know, I love it. So Tresa, tell us when this big to do is coming up in the Atlanta area, well, in Decatur, at the Port of Sanford Performing Arts Center.
Yes, at the beautiful Porter Sanford Performing Arts Theater, September 23rd, 3 p.m. We're doing something different this year, something I have not done before. We're having one production at 3 p.m. And after the production, people can still shop with the vendors, and they can be out in the lobby and talk to Monique and others who've experienced this. Because I have most of the people who are on program, like the invocation and you know, the welcome or whatever, they are organ recipients. I call them donees, but they have gone through the journey, and I haven't done that before. So I have it now so that when people have questions, because after the plays, we would just disperse. So now if people have any concerns, Monique and others will be out in the lobby. We're going to have some music. I wanted a sax player, but he wasn't able to contact me. He is in need of a kidney. So I'm just going to play some soft jazz and just let people relax and just have fun and make new friends and just be together, and that's about it. And it's free, and free is always for me. If I know something that's free, I try my best to jump in on it. But it's I'm not telling people that they have to be organ donors in order to come and appreciate what we're doing. I want to get a message out to them that by being an organ donor, they're giving another person a chance to live a successful and productive life. Yes. And it's nothing to be afraid of. Is it, Miss Monique?
Not at all. I'm still here. I'm doing great.
Good.
And Aaliyah and Miss Rita, Tony, you remember Tony?
Yes.
Yes, a heart recipient.
Yeah, it was 8 years that he had received the heart, because when I met him, he was on the waiting list, and that was 9 years ago. Then he received the organ, the heart, the year later. Now his body has rejected that heart, so he is for another transplant. So
Oh,
doctor told him to go to Tennessee. So he was in Tennessee, and I spoke with him only for a split second yesterday. So the doctor is going to put him in ICU. So I guess the heart donor didn't expire, I would think. Monique, you can answer that more than I can.
Usually it's different for every organ. Some organs, depending on the person, may last a little bit longer than others. It could be a situation, like you said, his body may have started to reject the current heart that he has. So right now he's probably in that space where they're trying to see who can be a match, because it's not only dealing with blood matching, they also has to do tissue typing and things of that nature. And if they have him at a specific facility, it also depends on the priority where he is in. So if they do have an available donor for him, then he'll already be at the facility.
Okay.
So it just all depends. So, but for him to be at that time frame of 8 years, he did a good job. He did good. He did real
Okay.
good, because what happens is after a person get transplanted, they look at everything in an incremental time frame of 5 years. I know when we did it with my mother, the first 5 years was critical, because after the first 5 years, they say that's when the transplanted organ starts to somewhat deteriorate. And then they go
Oh,
to the next. Yeah, because there's so many factors with dealing with the transplant, because they have to take medication to keep their bodies from rejecting the organ. And the body is smart. It understands that this is not what came with us when we were brought into
yeah.
this world. So it looks at the organ as a foreign agent. So each patient, such as my mother and the individual, they have to take anti-rejection medication every single day to ensure that it lowers the immune system of the person so the body doesn't attack it. And sometimes, and I'm quite sure the doctors that he probably were working with, they probably try to do different techniques to keep that from happening to him. And probably the organ probably ran its course. So more than likely, if they're waiting for a new donor, they're just probably waiting to see if the next person he can receive from is a match for him.
Okay. Okay.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. I never knew the 5 year thing being in there as an option. And one of the things that we hear so many times is if you're an organ donor, they ain't gonna try to save you. That's what you hear in our community. And we're the last ones, the ones that's most needing organs. But a lot of our people will not donate because they're afraid that they're gonna let them die if they were in the accident or something.
A
Yeah.
lot of times I will say is, I know when I was getting prepared for the donation process, the unique thing about it, thankfully, my mom works at the hospital who did our surgery, and the doctors that did my surgery, she known me since I was a little girl, so they watched me grow up. But the main thing they told me was that if they saw that my life was on the line, they would immediately stop the surgery. So that right there, if it's, they're saying that they're not worried about whether you survive or not, that's not true, because the doctor, she told me that if they saw that I wasn't handling the surgery properly, they would stop the surgery. And I was like, no, my mom needs to live. And she was like, I understand, we love your mom, but you're my patient. So we have to make sure that you survive too.
Yeah.
So a lot of times there is a lot of stigma about certain things in regards to that, but I'm a testament that that was not true.
Yeah. Can I make a point, Aaliyah? Do we have
Yes.
time?
You're fine.
I was speaking to a young lady today who this month, I think, is a year that she received her kidney. And yeah, it was a year that she received the kidney, and she had been on dialysis for 8 years. And with her first notice of a kidney was available, the doctor had someone call and say the person who was going to be her match, that they were not anticipating, but this person was dying, and she got a call that he came back. You know, he was fine. So therefore, she went back on the waiting list.
Oh, wow.
So being that person, that person was restored. So his kidney wasn't available. Right. So she went back on the waiting list, and she got her match last year. I think it was September, I believe it was.
That's good.
And she's doing fine. And she's going to be there.
Okay. The young man that was there with his wife and the young baby, do we know if he was able to receive his kidney?
I don't know. He was with Cornelia, I believe. And Cornelia has been with me for 9 years. I mean, she's just super. And she is in an interracial, shall I say, a biracial marriage. So one of her grandchildren inspired her to start an organization of brown and white plus black equals brown. So she has an organization for bone marrow. And it's yeah. So that's what started that, because one of her grandchildren wanted to know, well, how is it for interracial people who need a bone marrow? So she started her organization, and she won't be with us this year. And I'm gonna really miss her, because she was in the play she was in our first public play at the Family Life Center. Yeah. So she's been with me since 2013.
Yes. Yeah. I told her she's gonna be missed when she told me she was traveling. So if we can tell everyone one more time when the event is, how they can register, because even though the tickets are free, we need you to register. How many does that place hold, y'all?
490, and when I checked around 3:00, there were 379 seats reserved.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
So
y'all,
it was
490.
And can I put it on your site, Aaliyah? How do you do that? I don't know.
I put it on the Facebook side already. I'll add it to the YouTube side in just a moment as well. Jamaican Beauty said there are so many people that does not put organ donor on their driver's license for the reason we just talked about a moment ago. So it's so true. So very true. Yes. So y'all, any final words for everybody about coming out on the 23rd and being a part of this grandeur? Well, y'all better go get those tickets, because she don't even have 200 left for y'all. Any final words?
You have anything to say?
Well, first off, Tresa, thank you for inviting me to be a part of this opportunity with this play, because like Miss Rita said, you can't say no, Miss Tresa. When you start talking to her, it's like, man, that it's when you listen to her story and her passion in regards to this play, it's definitely something that you want to support, in regards to knowing about organ donation, and to try to get the stigmas out of the ways that to let people know that it is an option and is a availability that people can take advantage of. But the hard work that she and I we talk about it on a weekly basis as far as the play. This is something you don't want to miss. So you have a good time and also get educated in regards to
Yeah.
about organ donation.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Really got
And
anything?
if it's not a sad thing. Don't think that it's just only going to be talking about organ donation. Teresa's plays have you laughing, crying, standing up, cheering, boo-hooing, booing. So everything happens in her plays. She leaves nothing out. Nothing is censored. So grab your ticket, make a reservation, and we'll see you on the 23rd.
Absolutely. You feel every emotion possible and some emotions that you didn't know you could feel. You
Right.
feel them. Teresa, any final words?
Well, I just want everyone to know, as I had stated earlier, we're not trying to force people to become organ donors, but we're just letting you know that there are people in our community who are on the waiting list. And someone sitting in the audience could be a match for someone who's on the waiting list. So we're just asking people to just come out and be inspired, be educated. You cry, as Rita said, you laugh. So bring your tissues because it will have you. Even in rehearsals, I sit there and I'm just crying, just boo-hoo because of the message. And
Yeah.
it is faith-based. So we talk about Christ and we talk about the Trinity. And we have songs. You can join in with the songs. It's just an uplifting time. So bring the girls out, the guys, bring your guys, bring your families, but don't bring any little babies crying though, because it interferes with our video.
Mhm.
So
Do you have any more shirts for sale? Yeah, we have on our It's All About Me t-shirts. I have mine on in black. She has hers on in purple.
and purple is our color.
Yes.
Different.
Do you
So, yeah,
have any for sale?
I have more shirts for sale, and they will be there at the theater. And if someone wants a shirt, just gives me your size, and they fit. It's not like um, a baggy shirt. It's one that fits.
Yeah,
So if
fit it to.
someone wants to order one, I will charge you the $15 plus postage to ship it. I don't know what the postage is because I haven't gotten a request to ship.
Right. And you have to look that up because things are so different and seem like daily with the
Yeah, yeah,
postage.
yeah.
Yeah.
The rate went up a few months ago, and we also have shirts for men and boys. They don't have the
Mhm.
bling bling, but
Oh,
I
I didn't know
like
you
bling.
church with boys and
I
men
like
now.
bling.
Yeah. You know I'm a bling girl. You know I had to do the bling thing. So I had to go all the way out with it. But I want to thank you, ladies, for joining us tonight. I want to thank you for your yes, Teresa, and walking in your purpose and bringing joy and laughter and awareness to our community.
Yeah.
Monique, I want to thank you for your commitment to helping your mom stay alive. And Rita, I
Mm.
want to thank you for your commitment to Teresa for the last 25 years because I know you know where you're at.
Uh,
It's
I've
a fun
enjoyed
kind
it.
of ragged. Yeah, it's a fun kind of ragged. And
It is.
so I tell you, y'all keep doing what you're doing. Keep being the light that you are. And like I said a moment ago to Monique, same thing for you all. Don't allow anybody to close your mouth to
mm.
what God has placed on the inside of you because we all have a story to tell and we have something to share. So don't allow anybody. And I love how Lisa Nichols says it, and I'm paraphrasing, but basically she says, if you're shining too bright, tell them to put on some shades. So
Wow.
if your light bothers them, tell them to put on some shades because you're not going to dim your light. And so in this hour, that's what we got to walk in. We got to walk in the knowing of who God is calling us to be in this hour, because there's a purpose and a plan. We're not here by accident or by chance. We're not a oops. God said, I've called you my chosen. You are my royal priesthood, and I don't make mistakes. So thank you, ladies, and y'all continue to shine and be those beautiful queens that you are.
I want to say happy birthday to Monique tomorrow.
Oh, happy birthday, Monique.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
Well, ladies, we are going to wrap up. Y'all, anything else y'all want to share? Y'all good?
Good.
We're good.
All right. Y'all, we'll be back same time, same place next week on Fire to Inspire. I am Aaliyah, your purpose midwife. Thank y'all so much for joining us.
Okay. Good night. I love you.
Good night.
Bye. Have a good one.
Okay.